This video will show you how to switch the Ezra Freecoaster hub from Freecoaster to cassette drive. The tools needed are an 8mm Allen wrench and a 21mm spanner wrench. Also make sure you have the expansion springs. To begin, completely remove your axle nuts and washers. Insert the 8mm Allen wrench into the non-drive side of the axle. On the drive side, loosen the 21mm cone nut beside the driver and completely remove the cone nut from the axle. Slowly wiggle and pull the driver off of the axle. The clutch disc and spring might still be in the hub. Remove the clutch disc. If the spring comes out, simply slip it back onto the axle and into the hub. Take the clutch disc and spacer and notice that there are two sides of the discs. When in Freecoaster mode, the ramps on the clutch disc should face towards the driver. In cassette mode, the ramps on the clutch disc should face towards the inside of the hub. Pop out the clutch disc spacer. Flip the clutch disc to the cassette mode. Then insert the clutch disc spacer back into the clutch disc with the flange end facing the driver. And insert back into the hub, making sure the spring and all components are in the correct position. Now let's take the driver and switch out the springs. It is best to do this one pawl at a time so that there is no confusion. To remove the spring, slip your fingernail under the pawl and slowly pull the pawl out of the driver. Then slowly pull the retention spring out of the driver. Next, insert the expansion spring in the same place that the retention spring came from, making sure that the long side is facing inside the driver. Insert the spring a little more than halfway into the driver. Then use the pawl to depress the spring as you insert the pawl into the driver. Push the pawl and spring completely into the driver. Notice that the pawl will still slightly stick out when fully inserted. Now repeat with the other pawls. After you repeated all the steps, make sure all the pawls are facing the same way. Now carefully take the reassembled driver and slip it over the axle and slide it all the way back into the hub. You might have to wiggle and turn the driver into position because of the tight tolerances. Thread the cone nut back onto the hub. Tighten with the 8mm Allen wrench inserted into the non-drive side of the axle and the 21mm spanner wrench on the cone nut. Spin the hub and make sure everything is moving freely and make sure there is no rubbing or interference. Reinstall the wheel and you're on your way.